I said this in my last video. The gameplay in the whole control room section is unsatisfying to me, and it doesn't feel like it's a very good ending. And I stand by it. The control room section of Stray feels lackluster from a gameplay perspective. I love the emotion of the ending in Stray, but I hate the gameplay that was used to get there. Instead of using the mechanics that were introduced just before this, they go back to the simple mechanics we've been using since the beginning of the game. I get that it's maybe supposed to be a callback to the beginning and everything coming full circle by reverting you back to only doing what a cat can do, but that doesn't mean you can just ignore the mechanics you just introduced a level or two prior. What I'm saying is the gameplay for the ending needs to be more engaging than just knock a thing over and scratch some wires, then have B12 hack the console, or push open a panel and scratch some wire and have B12 hack the console. Give us something that is engaging and actually feels like an ending. I'm saying there needs to be a boss fight like feel to the end. Like in all the Mario games, the reason that Mario always fights Bowser at the end of the game is to send the player off feeling satisfied that they did enough to win and that they can feel like they accomplished something at the end of the story. Stray's ending doesn't have that oomph that you need to send the player home satisfied. I'm not saying it needs to be a boss fight. That's not what I'm saying. But it needs something to challenge the player so that they can have that moment of satisfaction before you rip their heart apart with the story. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Now, how could it be changed to give the player a satisfying ending? First, we work with the co-op aspect by making the cat go it alone. I know, co-op and you're making the player do it alone. But hear me out. B12 goes to the console and opens up a hidden panel in the wall or a maintenance shaft entrance for the player or like something like that. Something in the wall or in the console opens up so the player can go in. And the player must go through and traverse a vent system to get to 3 different panels and scratch the wires. Just like in the actual ending. You're still scratching wires, but it is more of a challenge to get there. I don't want to change the goal. I just want to change how we get there. Each panel is progressively deeper in the vent system, and it gets more complicated to get to it. Also, after getting to each panel, B12 will unlock the console he's on and move over to the next one. Throughout the vent system, there are like moving pistons and blocks that are being pushed and pulled by fans. Basically things that are dangerous to the player and that would kill the player in one shot if they got hit by it. So you have to use like switches, since we don't have B12 with us, to stop those traps and to progress through the area. But you have to start using some timing to trap them at the right time so that you can then use those boxes or those pistons to progress through the area by jumping on top of them. Before the first panel, though, it would just be stopping them from killing you. Then between the first and second panel, it would be a small combination of stopping them from killing you and having to use timing to stop them between 2 walls or something like that, so you can advance higher by jumping on them. It could be firing a platform out from the wall that would go and catch the box so you could jump on it then, or something of the like. Between the second and third panels is where we would get into the mastery section, because not only do you have to do the stuff you were doing before, but now this area would have an additional element of timing where the trapping method would start to fail or reset after a few seconds. So you would have to be quick to do the jumps and to get up to the panel. The third section would start out with the same thing as the second section ended with, but then it would start to add in those timing elements to make it more challenging for the player as they progress. It would have multiple small sections that would combine the already used elements, and they would keep getting just a little bit longer as you go up and get closer to the panel. And the goal as a designer would be to make the player feel like it's just a tiny bit faster than them. So it creates that sense of danger and excitement as they go through the level, and it would kind of ramp it up a little bit, but it would always be like just behind them if they're going quick. But if you slow down at all, you're gonna fall, or you're gonna slide back down if it's like an incline or something. I think that this would work out well as an ending because it would create a practice and mastery area for at least the trapping mechanic, and it would be a good way to cap off the gameplay with a challenging area so that the player can go away satisfied with having achieved that emotional payoff. It would make it so the player could feel like they earned the emotional payoff at the end of the game. So that's my thoughts on why the ending of Stray is kind of unsatisfying and a bit of a disappointment from a gameplay perspective, and why they could have done so much more with the mechanics they introduced so late in the game. What do you guys think? Would that be a better capping off of the gameplay, or do you like the ending gameplay that's already in Stray? Let me know in the comments down below, and I hope you guys have a royal day.